Hello everyone, I welcome everyone to this new video. Today we are going to talk about the most important topic for the combined 3 examination. In the syllabus it is precisely mentioned that polity of local and self government. Okay, in the polity section questions will be asked related to local and self government. Okay, so in this topic we are going to study history of local self government, evolution of PRIs, Panchayati Raj institutions after independence, then committees related to PRIs. When you will analyze the previous year question, you will find there are 2 to 3 questions related to committees. Okay, then there are 1 or 2 questions will be from this history and evolution of PRIs. Okay, so today we are going to cover these 3 topic. After that we'll move forward. Okay, so let's get started. History of local self government. Okay, history of local self government, in short LSG. So what is local self government? Local self government is the government at village and district level. Local self government is the government at the village and district level. Okay, now we'll understand what is the historical perspective. Like from where this concept of local self government has arisen. Okay, in the ancient India. Okay, in the ancient India, what we have seen, in ancient India there used to be 3 sections. Okay, what were those? Those were Gramini. Okay, Gramini, then Sabha, then Samiti. Okay, so what were those particularly? Gramini was the basically village function in Vedic period. Okay, and what was Sabha? Sabha is basically assembly for discussing agricultural matter. Then Samiti. Samiti dealt with policy decisions and political matters. Okay, so these were the basic structure of means administration in the ancient India. Okay, in the ancient history. Now in the modern history, what was the structure? Modern, basically when we talk about modern, it's basically British. Okay, now what was the structure of administration, or what is the evolution of PRIs, Panchayati Raj institutions, in the British period? what was its early phase, okay, from where it started. So there are some factual things you should know. In the exam they ask directly from these facts, okay. So Mayos resolution, okay, Mayos resolution. What is Mayos resolution? Mayos resolution is in 1870, it gave impetus to the development of local institutions. So basically from this revolution the history, okay, the of PRIs, local self government, has started in the modern Indian history, okay. Next, what is the timeline? Bengal Village Chaukidari Act 1870. So after Mayos resolution, this Bengal Village Chaukidari Act 1870 empowered the district magistrate to constitute a panchayat in any village. So in the exam if they ask what is the first act who kept the first brick of Panchayati Raj institutions, so it is Bengal Village Chaukidari Act 1870, okay. Next is the resolution on local self government by Lord Ripon's resolution. So the resolution on local self government, also known as Lord Ripon's resolution, this is very important, okay. Now what is Ripon's resolution? This resolution was introduced basically in 1882, okay. It intended to build local self government institutions, okay. This Lord Ripon, okay, he is also known as father of local self government, okay. So you should remember this, who is the father of local self government? It's Ripon, Lord Ripon. So this, it is a previous year question also, okay. In the previous exams it has been asked, okay. Now next is Morley Minto reform 1909. What is Morley Minto reform? This is basically, it incorporates, see, Lord Ripon's resolution, okay. This is not a act or anything, but it is a resolution, means he gave a resolution proposal that if we do this then it will be the consequences, or this is a better approach, so we can go for it, okay. So in the Morley Minto reform 1909, it basically it basically incorporated recommendations, basically recommendations of Royal Commission on Decentralization, 1907. So, in Modeling into Reforms 1909, it basically incorporated the recommendation given by Royal Commission on Decentralization in 1907. Okay. Next important thing is Montague Chelmsford Reform 1919. What is this reform about? This basically introduced diarchy system where responsibility of local self-government was given to ministers belong to princely states. Now understand what is diarchy. Okay, what is diarchy? Di means two. Okay, archy means administration. So diarchy means administration at two level. Okay, so two level. Okay, so this Montague Chelmsford reform in 1919 introduced diarchy means two administration, where the responsibility of local self government was given to ministers who were coming from princely states. Okay, next is now, so this was the history of local self government or Panchayati Raj in the British period. Okay, now we are going to talk about Panchayati Raj timeline. Okay, this is very important. Panchayati Raj timeline. In the exam they directly ask the year also. Okay, so you should know the exact timeline. So timeline is in 1882, as I discussed. It is resolution of local self government, resolution of 1882. Next is 1919. What is this about? It is Montague Chelmsford reform. Next is 1938. What is this? This is basically the on experiment. Okay, now what is on the experiments? You don't have to read in detail because it will not ask in the examination, but you should know what is on the experiment. On the experiment is basically is the early test of village level self government in on the state present day Maharashtra. Okay, so this is a basically kind of an experiment. Next is 1940. Okay, 1940 is Article 40 in Constitution of India. Okay, so in 1940 this Article 40 was introduced in the Constitution. So what is Article 40? As I discussed yesterday in the DPSP chapter. Okay, What is Article 40? Article 40 mandates states to organize village panchayats and empower them with necessary authority. Authority in the sense power to tax, power to construct, power to manage school affairs, okay, or collect forest minor products, etc. We'll discuss it later on, okay. Next is 1957. See, these things we have not yet discussed, but I will discuss, okay. But to remember everything at one place, to keep everything in one place, we are making this timeline, okay. So next important date in timeline is 1957. What was the event in 1957? It was Balwant Rai Mehta Committee. Okay, it was introduced. Balwant Rai Mehta Committee was it gave its recommendation. Okay, and after this, Rajasthan, first state to adopt Panchayati Raj. Okay, Panchayati Raj. Next is 1985. In what happened in 1985? It is GVK Rao Committee. Okay. Now we will discuss each and every committee in detail. Don't worry. Then 1986. It is LM Singhvi Committee. Okay. Then 1992. It is 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment Act, and this act is very important because they have asked 3 to 4 questions from this 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment Act. So this is the timeline for the Panchayati Raj. You should remember, okay. From this timeline, I feel one question they may ask, okay. Next we are going to talk about evolution of Panchayati Raj institutions after independence. Here in the above section, I have discussed up to this 1919 Montague Chelmsford reform. So basically this was the time before independence. Now we'll talk about evolution of Panchayati Raj institutions after independence. So first thing that we are going to talk about is Constitution of India. After independence, the first thing we did was Constitution of India. Okay. Constitution of India. So basically we'll read in the Constitution what were the things that was related to PRIs, Panchayati Raj institution. So as I discussed already, it is Article 40. Okay. Article 40 is it mandates states to organize village panchayat. Okay. It is presently it is under DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy. Next is local government is a state subject. We have kept local government in the state subject. Next, and in the to the PRIs given constitutional status through 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. That is why this 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act is important, because by this act only these PRIs, Panchayati Raj institutions, were given the constitutional status. Okay. Now we are going to talk about committees. See, committees for this examination is very important. Okay, you should remember each and everything related to committee. One or two question or maybe three questions will directly from this committee section. So first committee that was introduced regarding this Panchayati Raj institution was number one was Balwant Rai Mehta committee. Balwant Rai Mehta committee, okay, in 1957. So what was this committee about and what was its recommendation? We will read. Okay, it recommended establishment of scheme of democratic decentralization which came into known as Panchayati Raj. Now you may think that what is the history of this word Panchayati Raj, from where it has come. So basically Balwant Rai Mehta committee recommended this, that the scheme of democratic decentralization means the power should be decentralized, okay, in the different institution in a democracy. So that decentralization of power is basically known as Panchayati Raj, okay. So now what are the specific recommendations? Okay, there are some specific recommendations from this committee. See, whenever a committee is constituted, they recommend thousands of things, but those thousands of things are not important for our exam point of view. So we will read the important recommendations from our exam point of view. So let's get started. First thing that is very important is establishment of three-tier Panchayati Raj institution. So in the examination they ask three-tier Panchayati Raj institutions was recommended by which committee? So that time you have to tick the option Balwant Rai Mehta committee. Okay. So what were the three level? Basically three level were, okay, three level were okay, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, three level. One is village level, that is this one. Next is block level, this is block level, and next is district level, this is this one. Now in the village level it is called gram panchayat, okay. In the block level it is called panchayat samiti, okay. And in the district level it is called zila parishad, okay. Don't worry about the terminologies, I will discuss each and everything, okay, but afterwards, okay, afterwards that I will discuss each and everything. Now it is we are talking about this recommendations, what he recommended, that Balwant Rai Mehta committee recommended, okay. So Balwant Rai Mehta basically recommended establishment of three-tier of Panchayati Raj institution. One is at village level, next is block level, and above it district level, okay. So in the block village level it is called Gram Sabha, Gram Panchayat, and in the block level it is Panchayat Samiti, and in district level it is Zila Parishad. Okay. Next, what was the next recommendation? Next most important recommendation of Balwant Rai Mehta committee is election. Okay. What he recommended? He recommended was village panchayat, village panchayat. The election of village panchayat should be direct elected representative, directly elected representative. Okay. And in the panchayat samiti level, and Zila Parishad level. Okay. Parishad level, it should be constituted with indirectly elected members. Okay. Indirectly elected members. So this is important. Next recommendation is Panchayat Samiti, Panchayat Samiti should be executive body. Zila Parishad should be advisory. Coordinating and coordinating body. So basically understand here one thing. Balwant Rai Mehta committee recommended village panchayat election would be directly elected, and panchayat samiti and Zila Parishad election will be members will be indirectly elected. And panchayat samiti power should be like executive body. The work of panchayat samiti would be executive body. Executive body means they would implement the policies. Okay, they would implement the decisions taken by the upper level. Now in the upper level it is Zila Parishad. So what is the function of Zila Parishad? Zila Parishad should be advisory, means it will advise the Panchayat Samiti or the executives, okay, what to do, what not to do. And it will, Zila Parishad will also coordinate between Panchayat Samiti and other Gram Panchayats. Okay. Next, other recommendations are district collector, DC, should be chairman of Zila Parishad. Means at district level, the body at district level it is called Zila Parishad, and it is basically advisory body and coordinating body. So who will be the chairman of DC, a chairman of this Zila Parishad? The chairman of Zila Parishad would be DC of that district. Okay. And this recommendation, this DC should be a chairman of Zila Parishad, and this recommendation was accepted in January 1958. Okay. Next, as I already mentioned, Rajasthan, first state to establish Panchayati Raj, okay, followed by Andhra Pradesh. Next, some state also established Nyay Panchayats, okay. So this we'll discuss later on. So basically these were the recommendations given by Balwant Rai Mehta committee. Establishment of three-tier Panchayati Raj institutions, then election, how will be the elections of these institutions, then what will be their functions, okay, and who will be the chairman, okay, and Rajasthan is the first state to establish Panchayati Raj, and this is a previous year question. This is very important, you should remember this, okay. Next committee that we are going to discuss is Ashok Rai Mehta committee. Ashok Mehta committee. Ashok Mehta committee, okay. Basically this committee recommended 132 recommendations. As I already mentioned that every committee will recommend thousands of things, but we cannot remember everything. So keeping our exams requirement, we will read the important recommendations that are important for our exam point of view. So the main recommendations are main recommendations are number 1, three-tier should be replaced by two-tier, okay. Now in the Balwant Rai Mehta committee, he recommended that there should be three-tier Panchayati Raj institution, but Ashok Mehta recommended that three-tier should be replaced with two-tier, okay. Now what will be the structure? What will be the two-tier structure? The two-tier structure would be like this. Okay. So in the below it is Mandal Panchayat. Okay. And in the upper level it is Zila Parishad, okay. And what will be their level? It is in district level, and it is mandal level will be, it is basically consisting group of villages, okay. Next recommendation is PRI Panchayati Raj institution should have power of taxation, like Panchayati Raj institution, like in the village level mandal panchayats, okay, or the Zila Parishad should have power to tax. Suppose in the one village one mela is going on, okay, so they can tax the shopkeepers who will set up their shop in the mela, so they will earn some money, and with that money they can use for the betterment of village. For example, they can install a hand pump, okay, or they can buy some books for the school of the village, okay. So in this way they can tax the power of taxation should be given to PRIs. Next is it recommended Nyay Panchayat. What is Nyay Panchayat? Basically it is the panchayat who will resolve the problems of quarrels of in the village, okay. Suppose there are some problem issues between two person or among the few persons, okay. so among two groups, so that time it will act as a Nyay Panchayat, it will act as a court or something. Basically, they will solve the issue between them. Okay. Next is Chief Electoral Officer of a state in consultation with the Chief Election Commissioner should conduct Panchayati Raj elections. So Ashok Mehta committee recommended that the elections of the Panchayati Raj institution should be given priority, like the chief election commissioner of a state, okay, should be given the power to conduct elections. Okay, so this was all for Ashok Mehta committee. Okay, so if you read this much for Ashok Mehta committee, this will be sufficient, I think. Okay, if they have to ask something from Ashok Mehta committee, so you can answer from this thing. Here the important thing that you should remember is he recommended 3-tier Panchayati Raj institution should be replaced with 2-tier. Okay, this is the most important thing. Next is number 3, GVK Rao committee. Okay, so this committee told that bureaucratization of development administration as against the against the democracy. It basically weakens the Panchayati Raj. Okay, also he also named it like, also called, it is a grass without root. So this is important here. So in the exam they may ask like grass without root. This recommendation or this comment is famous with or related with which committee? So answer is GVK Rao committee. Now what are important recommendations? Important recommendations. Now important recommendations were Zila Parishad should become the principal body for management of all developmental programs. Okay, so he gave the priority to Zila Parishad. Zila Parishad should become the principal body, okay, management from all developmental programs. Number 2 is a post of district development commissioner should be created. Okay, so this is important. District developmental commissioner to establish to set up a district development commissioner uh, who recommended this. It is GVK Rao committee. Okay. Next is, so this was all for GVK Rao committee. Next committee that we are going to read is, and this is the last committee that we will study. Okay, it is LM Singhvi committee. Okay, now one fact about this: Rajiv Gandhi appointed this LM Singhvi committee to revitalize Panchayati Raj institutions. So in the exam they may ask who appointed LM Singhvi committee. It is Rajiv Gandhi. What are the recommendations? Recommendations are: number 1, Panchayati Raj institutions should be constitutionally recognized. Okay, so till now the Panchayati Raj institutions were not constitutionally recognized. Means in the constitution there were nothing was there related to Panchayati Raj institutions. So this committee recommended it should be constitutionally backed up. Next is, so after this recommendation, 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act was passed by Parliament. Okay, in 1992 and got assent on 24th April 1993. Okay, based on Gadgil committee. Now understand one thing. This LM Singhvi committee was appointed by Rajiv Gandhi to revitalize the PRIs. Okay. Now, according to after these recommendations, the recommendations were PRI should be constitutionally recognized. Okay. So after this LM Singhvi committee, one more committee was instituted. Okay, that is Gadgil committee. Okay, within that LM Singhvi committee only. So that Gadgil committee also recommended to constitutionally recognize PRIs. So based on Gadgil committee recommendations, 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment Act was passed by Parliament in 1992 and got its assent on 24th April 1993. So here a few things are important. Number 1, who appointment LM Singhvi committee? It's Rajiv Gandhi. Okay. Next, which committee recommended PRI should be constitutionally organized? It is LM Singhvi committee. Now, by which Constitutional Amendment Act PRIs were constitutionally recognized? It is 73rd and 74th. On which date it got assent? It is 24th April 1993. Okay, so it is very important. You should remember. Okay, about Gadgil committee, it recommended establishment of a state finance commission for the allocation of finances to the panchayats. In the later stage, Gadgil committee also recommended the establishment of state finance commission. Okay, now, so this was all for committees. Next we will read is 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, what were the basic things in that? Then we will also read PESA Act, Panchayat Extension to Scheduled Areas Act. Okay, and then we will start. Then we will read about 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. Then we will read different types of local self-government. That is, uh, there are different, for example, district planning committees, metropolitan planning committees. Okay, after that we will go for urban. Okay, in the urban government, in the types of urban government, we will start reading municipal corporation, municipality. Okay, then cantonment board, etc. So this was all for today. So today we have studied the history before independence and after independence of PRI. Then we read about the all the committee recommendations about the important committees related to Panchayati Raj institutions. Okay, so in this chapter Panchayati Raj institution, committees are very important. So each and every committee, four committee I have discussed, each and every committee you should learn it by heart. I have given the important datas for everything. You just read it. Okay, so this was all for today. Thank you everyone.